Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 175. I am Brendan. Today we're going to talk about Bellator 285 prelims. If you're looking for the main card, including the main event, that's in the last video. We're going to cover the prelims here, which include Brian Moore versus Arivaldo de Lima de Silva, Jordan Winski, Brett Johns, Kai Stevens, Dara Kelly. We're going to cover the rest of the prelims here. If you like MMA, you like Bellator, if you like the UFC, I cover all that stuff here. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week, covering all the fights, breaking down the stats. Let me know what you think about the channel. Subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out, and let's get started. All right. So, prelims were kind of fun. You know, there were some action-packed stuff. We had some interesting finishes. We'll get to the cool choke that happened. It was actually the first fight of the card, but that will be the last one that we get to. So let's get started so we can get there. Brian Moore defeating Arivaldo Lima de Silva. Why did they not put Da Silva in here? Anyway, good win for him. It was a decent fight, fun, fun to watch and stuff. It was just a really just a one-way fight. A lot of this stuff here, I didn't see anything from Silva that let me think that he was going to win this fight at all. Silva was lunging in, trying to get close and possibly engage in the grappling with Moore. Moore was staying on the outside, poking and throwing different combos and exiting, circling away to avoid some of the clinches in the close exchanges, avoiding takedowns. And Moore landed the better shots and did more damage in the first round. Silva was not able to corral him at all. He kept running at him and chasing him down instead of trying to cut off the cage. 10-9 round for Moore. And then in the second round, Silva was winging huge looping punches and Moore was avoiding most of them. He's still staying disciplined, landing really good jabs, keeping really tight combos. Moore was stepping to the left at one point when Silva was rushing in, right? And when he rushed in, he overextended, and Moore moved to the left and then threw a beautiful right hook, landing right on the chin and staggering him for a minute. He landed so much more damage in the second round. Easy 10-9 for him. That's 20-18 going into the third. Silva was moving forward in straight lines the entire time. He was just getting picked apart by Moore. This third round wasn't as action-packed. There wasn't a ton of striking. There was a lot of clinching going on. And, honestly, it was Brian Moore the whole way. He did not stop. He was he just kept doing everything that everything perfect, really. Everything perfect in this fight, and there was not, like I said, not a single moment where I thought Silva was going to win. He showed nothing that not that he didn't belong in there with Moore. It's just that he showed me nothing that showed me that he was going to win that fight. Beautiful win for Brian Moore. Again, hometown guy from Ireland. Lots of Irish fighters on this card, obviously being in Dublin. And it's cool to see them win because you get the pop of the crowd. But there was some stuff that was a little strange. We'll talk about those when we get to them. But first, let's go talk about Brett Johns versus Jordan Winski. Fun last name, getting the Winski here. Brett Johns ends up getting the win pretty impressively, I might add. This fight was kind of a stinker. You figure it would have taken place more on the feet with the way the first couple exchanges went. But due to the, I guess, Winski kind of cracked him a little bit. So Brett Johns did he had some really nasty kicks and some good punches and stuff, but he was looking really smooth on the feet. But then Johns got a takedown, stayed on top for pretty much the whole first round, landing decent damage and getting a 10-9. The second round, Winski ended up landing a really nice right hand and it kind of stunned Johns, and I think that's what just fully triggered his brain. It said, hey, the easiest path to victory is getting a takedown, staying on top, and doing a little bit of ground and pound so we don't get stood up. That's exactly what he did for the next 2 rounds. We don't have to break down this round and the next one because that's exactly what happened. Easy 10-9s for both the second and the third for Brett Johns. Good win for him. Very impressive. Took the path of least resistance. I'm not going to begrudge him for making it less interesting to watch. That's not his responsibility as a fighter. His job as a fighter is to get the win, and that's exactly what he did. Just because he doesn't want to make every fight exciting and put himself in a bad position to get knocked out, I'm not going to hold that against him. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to sit here and congratulate him on, that's not what I'm going to say. Not expel, that's not the word I want to use. I'm not going to be, over the moon, what an old phrase that is, about how exciting the fight was, because it wasn't. It was a boring fight. He just sat on top. He didn't do a ton of damage on top. It wasn't really, he was constantly looking to advance, and he was constantly doing damage. So it's right on the borderline for me. My stance is still pretty firm. I do not like people on the ground who just lay and pray. I do not like that. I don't like it as a technique in MMA. Not that I think it's not effective. It is effective. The problem I have with it is it makes the fight incredibly excruciating to watch. It makes it almost unwatchable. And as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not a hardliner when it comes to stand-ups, I agree that if you're in a bad position, you need to work to get out of that position. So I am not okay with looking at the referee and complaining and trying to get stood up. But I also understand that this is an entertainment product, and in order to get people to watch it, you're going to need something. You need to do something. And in this case, it's one fight. It's not a big deal. If it becomes a pattern in your career that you are a boring fighter and that all you do is lay and pray and you just get on top of people and sit around, that's one thing. In the UFC last weekend, I was pretty harsh. I'll defend it. Rightfully so, in my opinion. I was really harsh on a heavyweight fighter who got on top and landed 3 total strikes. He had 8 minutes of control time and landed 3 total strikes from top position. So that's an extreme example, and I fucking hated it, right? It's horrible. I don't want to see that. He's not expressing the skills that he has in MMA, and you can tell, right? When a wrestler gets in a good position, we've almost done away with it, right? Most wrestlers are working for better positions, constantly trying to do ground and pound. Even someone who like Kobe Covington, he takes people down repeatedly and breaks them and landing. Yeah, he lands pity pat shots, but he's constantly working. He's working to break his opponent and break their will. So that's different than just laying there and preventing your opponent from getting up, and that's all you're doing. In fact, that's almost defensive to me, right? And I'm going to do a quick aside here. I hate when people compare or try to say like, oh, well, in a street fight, this wouldn't work. And oh, in real fighting. This is real fucking fighting, okay? This is real fighting. As Boss Rutan said, if it works on killers, it works on everybody. And these are killers, all of these guys. Now, I might be overly critical on some people based off of, like, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. So based off my mood, how I was feeling, the fights that happened around it, the perspective that you can have based on watching an entire card and then getting to a fight that's highly anticipated and then it doesn't meet your expectations. Obviously, I'm susceptible to all those things. The point that I'm trying to make here is that in a fight outside of sport, right? So in the real world, getting in a fight, getting a tackle or a takedown and sitting on your, whether he's the aggressor or you're the aggressor, it can be looked at as a defensive move. And I mean that in the eyes of the law. If you were to go and knock somebody out, even if it's in defense, right? Like he's the aggressor and you knock him out, you can still be charged with negligence and excessive use of force and all kinds of other things. If you were to kick someone, you could do damage. And again, I think leg kicks are safer than punching someone in the face, both for optics in court, but also because it can be used as a defensive technique to debilitate your opponent and prevent them, to neutralize the threat, right? And you're not you're not using excessive force and overly damaging the, even if like I said, it's in defense. This is the guy, he's the aggressor in this scenario. I think a tackle/takedown is the ultimate defensive technique because you can hold that opponent down, we're not going for a submission here. We're not trying to break his arm or put him to sleep. We're just holding him down until help comes and can neutralize the situation. You have neutralized the threat, and then other people can come in and help and stop the threat from continuing. And because of that, when you go to court, I think that's an easy win for you. He was the aggressor. I defended myself by taking him down, neutralizing the threat, and I did nothing additionally. So now, to put so I wanted to put that scenario, and I set that up saying that I don't think, I don't think this is, real fighting, or whatever. Let me pause and just collect my thoughts here. Just because I'm comparing this, and I'm going to make this example, I didn't want people to take this necessarily out of context or have a view that my opinion is well, in real fighting this. I don't have that opinion. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you take someone down and just hold them down, it can be looked at as a defensive technique because you're not doing anything offensively. And that's what I mean. So if you just take someone down and you don't land any punches, you're not trying to go for a submission finish, in my eyes, it's almost defensive because you're trying to stop him from hitting you. Now, I understand that it's effective because it works really well. Okay, I personally don't think that's a good expression of mixed martial arts in the sport that we have right now. I think that the rules are in place to prevent that from happening too much, and I do think that when there are stand-ups, sometimes it is warranted. So I went on a side there. I don't think that this is necessarily Brett John's MO, and I don't think going forward, I'm not going to hold this against him. And on top of that, he was doing damage. He was doing ground and pound. So, each one of those shots might not finish the fight, but it might open up a possibility of going for a submission. So he was doing his job. It wasn't the most interesting fight to watch because it didn't lead to a finish, and he didn't break his opponent, and he didn't land any big shots on the ground. But that's okay. I still think he was working towards it. So he was actively working. That's a big difference for me. When you're not working in there and you're just sitting around, there's actually a rule that you have to engage. If both fighters stand there and don't do anything, you usually get a warning. But what can happen is you can get a point taken away for not lack of aggression, but stalling and refusing to engage. People get warned for it. It happened in the Anderson Silva Nick Diaz fight. 6 years ago or whatever that was, when they were fooling around and Silva was moving back and, frickin' Diaz laid down on the ground and then twerked, as Silva was circling him, Diaz just sat there and twerked at him. That's what I mean. So if that is punishable on the feet because of lack of engagement, I think on the ground, just because you're touching his body doesn't mean you're necessarily engaging in the same kind of way as someone who's trying to actively go for a finish and improve position. So that was my little quick aside there, and I wanted to put that in perspective because I don't want to be too hard on Johns because I think he did a really good job. It was a great win for him. Kai Stevens versus Dara Kelly. Kelly getting the win here. This was, again, more of the same, and I'm glad that I talked about that last one, but here, you can see right here, this was at near the end of the fight, and he had many times in really good positions. He dominated most of this fight, and because of that, it's an easy win for him. You want to look at, we can talk about round by round here, but we'll kind of move through it quickly because each round was very similar. So, also, as I stated in the main card opener, when I see a guy with no sponsors on the trunks, let me know what you guys think. I said comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Does it change your opinion of what you're about to see? Does it change your perspective? For me, it does. It has, and again, it could be my personal biases, but I have something in my head that triggers when I see a fighter with no sponsors on his shorts that I don't think he's at the highest level. Right? There's something in my head, and rightly or wrongly, just by association, when I see those, I just associate that in my head with all of the information that I've seen and the thousands of fights that I've watched. When I see a guy with that, I'm thinking oh, this is closer to an amateur fight. So that being said, Kelly had sponsors on his shorts, and Kai Stevens didn't. So they were really trying to push Kelly here and get him the win in his hometown, and in his home of Ireland. So that was pretty cool. I think he's Irish. Is he Welsh? I don't want to say he's Irish. Oh, he is Irish. Johns is Welsh. So good win for Kelly in this first round. Kelly started the fight with a takedown. He got it super easy against the fence and laid down some decent ground and pound. The grappling from Kelly dominated most of the round. I said, let's see if his cardio held up, because he did look tired, and Stevens did look better on the feet. Like, he landed some good shots, and he caught Kelly's chin near the end of the round, but it wasn't enough damage to swing it, so I gave it 10-9 to Kelly. Lots of grappling in the second round, and Stevens even got the better of some of the grappling exchanges, and in the midst of a takedown, Kelly's glove had a malfunction. The tape came off, there were some things hanging, whatever. Regardless, because of that, they had to stop the fight and then repair the glove. Kelly looked tired before this, and he was tired from all the grappling exchanges, and he got like a good minute and a half, like 90-second break because of this. I thought that was total bullshit. And immediately, when they put him back in the position, which was good that they did put them in the position where Kai Stevens was, on the legs against the fence looking for the takedown, Kelly ends up locking up a Darce choke, and he didn't get the finish, but he got in a good position. Kelly reversed the position and got in control for the rest of the round. And Stevens didn't do enough damage or have enough control to reverse that. So 20-18 to Kelly. And then this last round, Stevens did an excellent job for the first minute of keeping distance, but Kelly pushed forward, got the takedown, spent the whole time, all those pictures you saw, a lot of those were from the last round, laying down ground and pound, getting in the mount, took the back, went for a rear naked choke with about 45 seconds left. Didn't get the finish, but clearly an easy round for him. I had him winning 30-27. Georgie Karakhanyan versus Kane Musa. This fight was all on the feet, and Georgie has a crazy chin. He does. Like, the guy took a ton of punishment here. Kane, it was an easy win for Kane, his adopted home of Ireland. Being a local there, essentially, he got he just did a ton of damage. We'll talk about it round by round, but the biggest thing I could take from this is that Georgie has a great chin, right? That's not a great takeaway from an entire fight, if that's the biggest thing that I can tell you. So both guys started really stiff, and Georgie was standing straight up and just trying to walk him down. And that's what he did the whole fight. He tried to walk him down, walk forward, but in the process getting tagged. Georgie was taking deep breaths pretty early. Kane was landing some decent hooks to the body, landing body shots, trying to tire him out. Both were kind of labored at the end. Kane was having to deal with that pressure from Georgie constantly moving forward, and that kind of looked like it tired him out a little bit. But he was able to get through it and do more damage in that first round. Easy 10-9. Kane was able to push him back in the second round a little bit. He was landing really good. Georgie was still trying to walk him down. Musa landed a left to drop him at the end of a beautiful three-piece combo. Got on top and tried to finish the fight with ground and pound. Couldn't get the finish, but there was an argument for a 10-8 in that second round. I do not have it that way. I thought Georgie threw enough back, and it wasn't that. I guess it was close to a finish, but it wasn't one punch away from a finish, in my opinion. So Georgie managed to survive the round, but he did get wrecked. So I had it 20-18, and then the last round, Kane started the round digging hooks to the body, trying to stop that Karakhanyan pressure. And then Georgie started reaching out to try and defend against the punches, which is never a good sign. You don't want to reach to try and defend punches. And he just stopped defending really well, and Kane landed a ton of damage in the last round. Super easy fight to score, 30-27 for Kane Musa. He looked great on the feet. Excellent fight for him. All right. Let's see. I do know how to say this name, right? Kenny. Wait, hold on. Why don't they have pictures of that one? Okay, well, anyway. Kenny Mokonuana getting the win here. It seemed really like Bellator really wanted Kenny to get the win. They put him in there against Alex Bodner, who kind of didn't look like he belonged in there. Kenny got the takedown early, not too much damage, back to the feet, and Bodner got pressed, but Bodner got pressed up against the fence. Alex went for a takedown. In defense, got the takedown, but the problem is he got caught up in a guillotine, and then Kenny does a beautiful move and flips it over and gets good position and actually put Alex to sleep with that guillotine. Excellent finish for him. Looked really smooth, and I think he's 4-0 now. I don't know. I think that was his Bellator debut. Great win for him. All right, Asael Ajuj versus Jordan Barton. Asael getting the win. Asael getting the win. It was a touchy-feely round with mostly safe striking from a distance, but then they put that picture in the wrong spot. I bet you it's up here. Yeah, he did. Okay, cool. Touchy-feely round, like I said. Asael landed a beautiful left high kick to get the finish, though, and put him down. They don't have a picture of it. But anyway, it was partially blocked, but he lands a beautiful kick, puts him down, and then finishes up with some decent ground and pound. Excellent win. Ajuj looked great in that finishing sequence. Okay, now let's talk about the fight that probably should get the most attention, rightfully so, on this main card, or on this prelim card. Luka Poclit versus Dante Schio. Schio was winning this fight. He didn't win. He got submitted. He actually got put to sleep. Schio was winning this fight. Dante looking really comfortable on the feet, keeping good distance, landing low kicks. Luka ends up getting a takedown and going for a submission. Then Dante reversed the position and got the mount. Luka tried to reverse again, but ends up getting his back taken. Dante ended the round on the back and looked excellent. I thought, after this first round, I was like, wow, Poclit, there's a good reason that Schio is the big favorite here. Poclit's decent, but Dante is for sure the better fighter. And that's how that's how this first round ended. And then in the second round, this is where something interesting happens. So Luka got a takedown. Oh no, sorry. Luka got the takedown again, and then proceeded to reverse position. Both guys reverse position back and forth, and they end up in this weird sequence right here. Right, this is the submission finish that happens, and they end up in this weird position where Poclit is actually grabbing his hip right here with Dante's arm and head locked in like an arm-in guillotine almost, and it looks weird because both these guys are technically in a compromised position. Both guys could get a submission from here, but this was super tight, and Poclit gets the finish, and you can see it right here. Schio was asleep, man. It was beautiful. I've never seen that exact finish. I mean, it looks like a single arm modified guillotine. I don't think it's technically a triangle. I don't know if they called it something else, but it was a beautiful finish for him. Excellent win, and that was an interesting fight too. There was a lot of really good grappling. I love to see that stuff, and that's Poclit's a good win for Poclit, and even though I think Poclit was losing that fight and has a lot of holes in his game, and if they fight 10 times, I think Schio wins 9 of them. But in this case, it was that one, and it wasn't luck. They got into a grappling exchange. He never quit. He kept going for finishes, he kept he kept scrambling and looking for better positions, and he got that choke and ends up putting him to sleep. So excellent win for him. Great finish. That's it. That's how the main card. That's how the Bellator fight card started, with the prelims like that. It was beautiful. That is it. That is the entire thing. Like I said at the beginning, if you're looking for the main card, including the main event, that is in the last video. This was just the prelims. Thank you guys for so much for stopping by. If you did stop by here and you made it this far, thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you. If you're that person and you're listening to me right now, I promise you'll like all the stuff that I do. If you made it this far, you are a hardcore fan of MMA. If you are watching something about the prelims, on Bellator and you watch the video all the way to the end. So subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Click the like button. I normally don't say that, but I would appreciate it if you do. It means a lot to me. I hope everybody has an amazing week. I hope everybody had a great weekend. One of the last warmer, decent weekends here in the Midwest. I love you guys. I really do. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you have an awesome week.